Hello, thank you for being in a new video. I have over here the Realme Note 60, which is just a short time after it was announced in Mexico. So let me do an unboxing to show you what comes in the box, and let's give you a tour of its main features. Let's get started. For starters, this device is going to focus a lot on ruggedness, but obviously a ruggedness of an entry-level device. Don't expect something ultra-advanced, but for this price point, it could be quite rugged. Realme has decided to name all this armor shield protection, as it apparently comes with a reinforced structure to prevent it from bending easily, to better resist falls and other things. All compared to devices of the same level. Because I remind you that it is an entry-level device. Although it's priced in Mexico, you know that it is not usually so tight. In this case, it is 3,699 pesos. And in a moment, you will know the specifications that this device has. And you will notice that compared to its specifications, it is quite expensive. So they bet everything on resistance. That's why, as you notice here on the box, they highlight as the first point that rougher construction that it supposedly has. They also highlight that it will be able to maintain its fluidity for 48 months. And another important feature would be that the screen can continue to work even if it is wet, something that can be useful. And in this case, it says that it has the IP54 level of resistance against water and dust. And this I say is curious because in other pages also official Realme say it is IP level 64, so I do not know whether to believe the box, the page, or what. But it will definitely have some level of water resistance that in the review I will tell you more details. So, for now let's take this device out of the box. And for now what we come across is the case, which also comes with a little quick guide about this. Not to emphasize too much, but the case, as you notice, comes with a completely transparent design, completely flexible, semi-rigid edges. I think the expected is appreciated that this comes included in an entry-level device. And here we're also going to find the tool to remove the SIM card tray. So let's move on and see what else is in the box. And we come directly to the cell phone and its sticker that comes attached with a glue that's meant to last a lifetime. It is very difficult to remove this sticker. Tell me, are you one of those people who leave this sticker on or one of those people who remove it? In this case, as I say, it was very stuck, but I finally managed to remove it. So here I have the device in my hands, and obviously this type of very simple fall should not hurt a bit. Let's see, let's apply a little bit of force. I'm not applying extreme force because my intention is not to break the device, but simply to try to lightly test this device. I insist it is not an all-rounder, but for its range it could be more resistant than all its rivals. Let's turn on this device and then we see that rather in the box. How do you realize? It comes with its charger that curiously says Superbook, and just like that is how they have taken all the prestige away from the brand. Superbook is a 10-watt charger. You can't call this a Superbook. Please get serious. From now on, when you see a Superbook charger, you have to see specifically how many watts it supports, because even though it says Superbook, it might only be 10 watts like this one. This is a really simple charger, although I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and we're going to see if in the load test it can manage to hold 10 watts constant and thereby more or less make up a little bit of charge time. But for now, it looks like it's going to be a charger that will take quite a while to finish a full charge of the device. That's what comes in the box, and let's focus on the cell phone. While I already have this device set up, let's take a look at what it has to offer. It weighs 187 grams and is 7.84 millimeters thick. Obviously, the fact of being thin and light will also help you to counteract the little falls because, as I say, supposedly in the internal part, its structure is designed in a way that the device is able to resist in a good way. And since it really is part of the same family of Oppo and shares certain technologies, I get the feeling that this structure and this internal design is a similar design or even could become the same as Oppo uses in the Reno 12 or Reno 12F, which are much more expensive devices. I guess that's why Realme wants to get to highlight this in a device of this price point. It also has IP54 or 64 level of resistance against water and dust, officially communicates both, so I don't know who to believe, which one of the two Realme believes. Its screen is 6.74 inches with HD resolution plus 90 Hz in its refresh rate and a peak brightness of 560 nits screen that for the price at which it competes, I think if it does come with a good brightness management, also good refresh rate here, the only drawback will be the level of detail, which yes, it can come up short. Also, note that the bezels come noticeably thicker than a more expensive device, but I think this is still expected in this price range. The front camera is 5 megapixels with f2.2 aperture and fixed focus. Here is the preview before taking the picture, and the first thing that strikes me is that it has a very similar interface to what we find on generic Android devices. So realme on this Note series gives me the feeling that they actually put generic software on it with some minor modification, but it doesn't really appear to be a 100% realme work device. But that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about the image preview, which as you can see comes quite burned in this case, but after taking the picture it does make a good balance of lights and shadows. In fact, several shadows that were not seen now appear, although it still has some slightly overexposed areas, but for the price we can't get so demanding. In reality, it is a camera that can deliver in a simple way. On the back we find 32 megapixel camera with f1.8 aperture, autofocus, although without optical stabilization, and this second camera that is decorative. It serves no purpose. And finally we have the LED flash here. Here we are seeing a result of the main camera. In fact, it has quite saturated colors, so I think the camera can get to meet in good lighting conditions. In the review, we will push it in other environments. I also took a portrait picture, just to test if that second decoration camera had some kind of function. But no, it is not really able to keep focus. It's not really capable of keeping objects in focus, so portraits will be fairly straightforward. Regarding video recording, in this case note that the device supports up to full HD with the rear camera and with the front camera only HD, something disappointing. For a 3,699 pesos device, they can't offer us something like this. The truth is that this has annoyed me a lot. It will be a very basic front camera, both in photo and video. The battery has a capacity of 5 mAh and supports 10 watts of charge, so I think the charger power is a bit disappointing, although I will still give it the benefit of the doubt just because they put the SuperVOOC brand, which is a brand that has quite a lot of prestige in charging. But if I'm disappointed, it will definitely be a complete disappointment that they put the SuperVOOC brand. With a 10-watt charger, it usually takes them almost 3 hours to charge a 5 mAh battery. Let's try it out and I'll tell you the exact figures in the video review. This device comes with Android 14 and realme UI supposedly, but remember that in this case it is a rather trimmed down version of realme UI. In fact, they should call it realme UI Core or realme UI Lite or something like that, because in reality a lot of apps are going to come running as if it were pure Android. For example, you've seen it on the camera clearly, its settings look extremely generic. Still, it's a good thing that it comes with Android 14 out of the box, and in fact in this case an update is already available, which of course we're going to install so that we have the latest software when we do the video review. You should know that it comes with 4 GB of physical RAM and you can extend another 4 virtual gigabytes. Honestly, the virtual RAM in Realme has never worked spectacularly for me. By default, it comes this way, so supposedly it will have 8 GB of RAM. In the video review, we will test if it really performs like 8 GB of RAM or not. And finally, the processor. It just says here that it's an 8-core. It is actually the Unisoc T612, a processor that is above the Unisoc T606, which in turn was above Qualcomm's Helio G85. So here we have the benchmark results. 422 points on single core and 1,467 on multi-core. That is, it is slightly higher than a MediaTek Helio G85. And in Antutu, it scored 254,608 points, again showing that it's actually a pretty straightforward processor. And the fact that it comes with 4 GB of physical RAM worries me a little bit for the overall performance of the device, but we'll check that out in the video review. And I forgot to mention to you that it has 128 GB of internal storage. For now, that has been all for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, you know you can point it out, and we'll see you next time.